The first time I ran away from home, I was in secondary 1. My home situation was a bit complicated. My dad used to do drugs. My mom used to be a licensed vet. And I guess my dad kind of used her to get drugs. I think after they divorced, that's when everything started going downhill. She would lock me in a room and use a rag to cover what light that was coming from under the door. She just didn't want the world to see me. She didn't want to see me herself. Especially being locked in the dark room, you're deprived of any stimulation, so your mind will echo back to you as if it was another person's voice. It was just a horrible experience. I was just very scared. So I decided that, I'm gonna run away. I don't want to see that household ever again. So the first night outside, I just roamed around the streets, the park. I felt like a bit of freedom, a bit of safety, because I'd rather be on my own than depend on my mom. It was the days that follow up and you realize you can't get any proper sleep, you're always on edge. There's always people around you and you're scared that someone might report you to the authorities. It slowly becomes harder to find food. Your clothes start to smell, That's when things start to hit. You start to feel that sense of dread. I remember I sat on top of the edge of a building. I thought to myself, if I disappeared, no one will notice. But when I was looking down, and then that's when it occurred to me, I've made it this far. I've already spent the first few nights homeless. Why would I give up the 4th night and the 5th night? At the end of every day, a new day begins. Usually, in the change slot, I'm not sure if there is coins now. Oh no. Or under the vending machine, there will actually be loose change that people don't bother to pick up or they drop. I'll use that and get myself a soya bean or something. So when I would study, I would just sit on the floor, put my books here, and just do my notes, study, do my homework, whatever I needed to do. So some of the necessities that I felt I needed before I left home would be obviously my school uniform, any loose change I could find around the house, to buy drinks and snacks. A little bit of tidbits because, we might not always find food. Something to sleep, something to keep myself warm, and my notes to study. That was really all I needed to bring. The reason why I chose this area or these type of places, because first of all, there are many people around the parks at night, especially this park, as well as it used to be quite close to my secondary school, so at least if I woke up late or if let's say I wanted to sleep in a bit longer, I could still have time to take a jog to school, run to school. I'll just lie down on the floor, hug my bag and just go to sleep. And I'll just lock the door. And because no one really ever came here to this toilet specifically, I could sleep rather well. Sometimes there will be this wave of sadness, I wake up from my dreams and I realize that, I'm alone in the toilet. There's no one, there's no bed, there's no nothing. But that's just life, I guess, you just get up and go. Yeah. The first night would be on the day of my N-level. I was very tired. Once the school gate opened, I just walked into the school, went to the canteen, put my head on the table and just collapsed. I just fell asleep. I remember when I walked into the exam room, I was feeling anxious, I was worried. This is the exam that could dictate my life. And yet I had no proper rest, no proper place to study. And I remember during the exam, I was trying my best to stay awake. I did horribly for N-levels. I could barely apply to anything at all. And I tried to comfort myself by telling myself that, it's okay, you try your best, that's all that matters. Up to this day, I felt I could have done better. Yeah. And I remember when I wanted to take O-levels, everyone was actually against it. And my teachers, they told me it's almost impossible. You really did so badly for N-levels. Now you want to take O-levels and you have less than a year to learn them. But I was stubborn and I didn't want to give up hope. I felt I could do better. Hello. I knew this wonderful person, very good at studies, so I asked her, could you tutor me for a while? Thankfully, she took me up on the offer, I'll tutor you, but it's okay, you don't have to pay me back. I got asked toasts as well, which will come later. She's Pei Ling, she's my tutor, has been taking care of me since forever.
So for the record, that year he took N-levels, he did not know what a quadratic equation was. I hope I didn't show it on my face, but internally I was horrified. I mean, I also felt really bad because then I knew the context, right? He has like multiple jobs. He had school. I tried my best to accommodate, so wherever he can meet, I would just be there.
She gave me a whole bunch of her own personal notes, and then whenever I was at work, like when it was like non-peak hour, I would just take it up and like start revising. I had a lot of doubts. I mean, I was really like, less than a year, I have to relearn all my topics, express topics, normal topics. Is it possible? Can I do it? I remember while walking out, I just ripped open the letter because it came in this like little envelope thing. I just stopped midway. I pulled out a paper. I was like, oh my god, that was just the amount I needed to get into biomed. I think I called her in the middle of work. I told her like, I got into biomed. I did it. Oh my god, thank you so much. And the fact I got into biomed when everyone said I couldn't was like telling the world like, screw you, you know, I did it. You're wrong.
When I went through this whole journey with him, I realized that actually there's really no set definition to success. I felt that if that wasn't even the image of success, then I don't know what is.
I always worried that people would judge me, you know, he's a failure, he's homeless because like he's doing badly. So I guess that's part of the reason why I also tried to do very well in my studies. I was like the head counselor, I was a leader in my CCA. I put on this facade like as everything was okay. Because of that, I guess they would never suspect I'm homeless.
No, my first impression is like, oh, he's a skater with tri skates. And this guy just rips through the entire stadium, sliding everywhere, not falling. I was like, oh, I'm sold. This guy's very good.
I find you to be more mature than you're supposed to be. So that really caught my attention.
My first impression is a little awkward guy, but extremely caring. That's the thing.
I remember I came across this carousel post looking for people to skate. And I thought like, you know, this post is a bit like funny, you know. But I was like, you know what, what's the worst that could happen? And then it turns out to be, it was just like a whole group of friendly people. That's when I started opening up to them about the situation. You know, whenever I had problems, like I would just tell them and then they'll always be there for me. They'll be like, you know, let's skate. Okay, I skate, I forget all my problems. If I wanted to study and I didn't want to be alone, I could be with these guys. If I just wanted to like unwind and chill, I can be with these guys because like these people accept me for like how weird I am, for who I am. Yeah, to me, this is my family.
I'll pay you $20 later, don't worry.
I always had aspirations to become like a professional figure skater, but I decided to take up inline skating first because ice skating was a bit expensive. For those pair of ice skates, it was actually like contributed with all my friends together. I told them like, you know, I really want to learn figure skating. Then the next day, my friends told me like, oh, you know, we put together some money. It's not much, but like, here you go. Go pursue your dreams. Make us proud. Well, my love for figure skating was the fact that to me it was such a beautiful thing. Like, I couldn't really like express my emotions in terms of words, but I could express it in the way I move. Like, as you spin, the world blurs out, and you close your eyes, you're in a world of your own. No worries, no nothing. And then as you emerge again from darkness, you see like people giving you applause, you see your friends around you. I would have loved to become like an athlete, but no, again, I didn't have the time and resources. I always spent my time working. My hopes for the future? I hope that I can return to studying as soon as possible. I hope that I would have enough money to continue skating, that I can become a doctor. But I guess what I really wanted was just like a sense of fulfillment, you know, that despite everything that has happened, I didn't give up, and that people noticed me, people acknowledged me, people didn't think I was like just another homeless guy. Currently, I'm in service, I'm in the Navy, so most of the time I spend it in camp. Other than that, I do have a place to stay currently. It's a shared room, we have a roommate, because I realized that I don't like living alone. Am I happy with my current situation? I mean, not quite like I would hoped for, I guess. but I'm grateful for what I have. As long as there's like a simple shelter over my head, I call that home.